Hey, what's going on, folks? What's up? What's going on? Sorry about that. I was just trying to see if I could actually set up my live stream on Instagram. I've been having issues with Instagram for a couple of weeks now. But in any case, hey, hope you're doing fantastic. Appreciate you tuning in. Don't be shy. Introduce yourself in the comments. Tell me who you are, where you're tuning in from, what your field is, what your industry is, what parts of the world you're from. Especially if you're outside of North America, I'm excited for everyone that joins in, but I get most excited when I hear about people from all over the world tuning in to my live stream, and that just to know that people all over the world do benefit from my tips, advice, and my strategies. All right, so don't be shy. Introduce yourself in the comments. For those of you tuning in for the first time, my name is Dean Kulaweera. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I'm right here to share job search tips, advice, strategies, pragmatic, practical stuff that all of you folks can apply to your job search based on my experiences of 8 plus 9, I think close to 9 years now of experience working in the staffing industry as a IT recruiter. Now, I do try to make my advice applicable to all fields, not just IT. So, if you're not in IT, you're not an IT professional. Hey, stick around. Guaranteed, you're going to hear some stuff that will help you and assist you in your job search. All right. So, looks like we got a bit of a shy crowd today. But again, folks, don't be shy. Feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. Looks like we got my friend Suhail Ahmed in the house. Suhail says, "Hi, my name is Suhail Ahmed. Good to see you here, Suhail. Suhail, thanks so much for tuning in, and hope you get a lot of value out of today's session." So today, what I'm talking, and by the way, feel free to keep the comments coming, folks. I want to know who you are. I want to know where you're tuning in from. I want to know your field, your industry, and all that stuff. So don't be shy. Feel free to give yourself a shout out in the comments. All right. So what I'm talking about today, everyone, is interviews, right? How do you assess, what are some of the signs that let you know that, hey, this interview is going pretty well for me right now, right? And by the way, spoiler alert, folks, just because the interviewer says, oh, we really like you, we think you're a fantastic candidate, I personally don't take that as a sign. Like, that could just be fluff, that could just be smoke being thrown in your face, right? Do not take those verbal confirmations as actual proof that things are going well. Instead, me personally, I'm someone who personally believes in assessing, evaluating, and judging people not by their words but by their actions. And today what I'm going to talk about are some of those actions, some of those signs that you can evaluate and observe from the interviewer, right? The hiring manager, the hiring team, the recruiter, that let you know that there might be some strong evidence as to, hey, this interview is going well. They really do, or they have a high possibility of liking me and wanting to move me forward in the process. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And if this is your first time tuning in, or even if this is your you've tuned in before, hit me up with a like and a share. Always appreciate those. And make sure you keep following me for more and regular job search tips, advice, and strategies. And a quick shout out to everyone on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, tuning in and watching this. So let's get into today's topic, folks. All right. So, what are some signs that the interview was going well? Now, before I get into to the signs, and by the way, I'm going to share with you 5 signs, 5 very strong indicators that the job interview is going well, and there's a very very high likelihood that they're going to move you on to the next step of the process. All right, now by no means do I guarantee that if you see these signs that that means everything's locked in, it's all good, like it's smooth sailing from there. Not saying that, folks. All I'm saying is consider these 5 things I'm going to talk about today. Consider them as little pieces of evidence that are going to help you kind of serve as indicators along the way as you're going through with the interview, that let you know, hey, things are going pretty well so far. Things are going well. Things are going positive. There's a high chance that these people, this recruiter, this hiring team, these interviewers, the interview panel, they potentially or possibly do have a high likelihood of liking me and wanting to move forward in the process with me. All right. Now, there are many signs that can indicate this. So these are by no means exhaustive, but these are based on my 8 plus, almost 9 years in recruitment, which I have seen as patterns, which indicate positive feedback from the hiring team. All right. And again, like I said, folks, just because the hiring team at the interview or during the interview says, oh, we think you're a really great person, to me, that means zero, nothing. It does not mean anything. Right. Folks, you need to stop being naive. Do not judge people. Do not believe everything that people say. Instead, I want you to start evaluating recruiters, hiring teams, interviewers, interview panels. Start judging them, assessing them, evaluating them based on actions, not based on words. All right. Do not get excited just because the hiring team said, "Oh, we think you're a great candidate." How many of you out there have ever been in an interview, phone interview, video interview, or in-person on-site interview where the hiring team said, "Oh yeah, we think you're amazing. We think you're fantastic. We really feel like you'd be a great candidate for the role. We feel you have so much you bring to the table," only for you to go on and get that feedback from them that, hey, we decided to go with another candidate, or they completely ghost you, right? If you've ever experienced that, let me know in the comments if you feel comfortable sharing that, right? I mean, it happens to everyone. It's happened to me, right? So anyway, let's get into today's top signs that the interview is in fact going well. All right. So if you're taking notes, you definitely want to take note of these. And as you're taking notes, I want you to start consciously driving these things into your mind, so that during your interviews, moving forward from today onwards, when you see these signs, you know that these are indicators that things might be going really well. Now, top sign number one, and this is something I have frequently seen as a recruiter when I'm about to get positive feedback from hiring teams. Top sign number one is the interview is not even going, it's not even like an interview. It's more like a conversation. There's a lot of back and forth flow. This is a very positive sign, folks. All right. There's a lot of back and forth flow. What do I mean by back and forth flow? What I mean is it's not like a traditional stereotypical interview where you're just going in there, you're sitting down, they ask you a question, you respond. They ask you another question, you respond. They ask you another question, you respond. No, it's not like that. A great one of the top indicators of a great positive interview is when it has the back and forth flow of a conversation, right? Where not only them, but you are asking your own questions as well. It's almost like an exchange of ideas, thoughts, enthusiasm, ideas, right? Suggestions, like, and it's just going back and forth, and it's just kind of both you and them, you're just bouncing ideas back and forth against each other. You're talking about possibilities, things that can be done differently, things that can be done had you been on the team, or if you were on the team. It has that two-way flow, folks, right? This is, again, one of those indicators of a great interview. If you feel like, if you're on a phone interview, you're in an in-person interview, you're on a video interview, and you feel like, wow, I mean, this is more like a conversation. It's not even like an interview. We're just going back and forth here. We're sharing ideas. We're sharing thoughts. We're sharing suggestions. If the interview is it feels like that. It feels like a real actual conversation, an actual discussion where ideas are going back and forth. This could be an indicator, folks, that things are going really well, and there is some great rapport, and high chances that they see something, that they see that there is something there, that there is something potential that could happen between you and them. So this is one of the top indicators, right? And the reason why I mentioned this as one of the top indicators, almost 9 times out of 10, whenever I've gone on the phone with candidates that I was representing after an interview, and that has resulted in the hiring team wanting to move forward with a candidate, the feedback I've always received, both from the hiring team and from the candidate, has always been that, hey, Dean, it was not even like an interview. It was more like a conversation. It was more like a discussion, a conversation. We were just going back and forth. So 9 times out of 10, whenever I receive that feedback from hiring teams as well as candidates I was representing, it's always led into moving things forward, or of course, if it was in final stages, to a final offer on the table. So this is why this is one of the greatest indicators that things might be going great. Now, if this is not happening, if it's not a back and forth flow, don't worry, don't be concerned. That does not mean that you're not doing things well, right? Because this does not always happen. What I'm saying is, if this does happen, if this is happening to you in the interview, chances are this is an extremely positive sign. But again, if it's not happening, don't worry, don't freak out, don't think that you're not doing well. Like, I've still seen positive feedback from interviews that were more traditional and in nature, where it was just them asking you a question and you responding, them asking a question and you responding. But what I'm saying here is, if you do feel like, hey, it's going more like a discussion and conversation, it's a very positive sign. So take that as an indication that things are going very, very positively, and things are moving forward. All right. So if you have any questions by the way, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to put in the comments. Look like we have a very quiet, shy crowd today. So hey, make use of the comments, folks. Look, comments, these are opportunities for you to increase your visibility as well. All right. So you know what they say, out of sight, out of mind. If I don't know you, I don't know you exist. So one of the best ways for me to get to know you, and the rest other people who look at this live stream to get to know you, is to put something in the comments, right? Introduce yourself, share your experiences, or ask your questions. Don't be shy. All right. So moving into indication number 2, that the interview is going really well, and that they might be very interested in moving forward with you, right? Indication number two is they're really starting to sell you on the opportunity, right? They're really, really trying to sell you on the opportunity. If this has ever happened to you, let me know in the comments, right? You're interviewing with them, you're meeting with a company, you're meeting with a recruiter, the conversation is going great, and they start telling you about how amazing the opportunity is at the organization, right? This is what I mean by when I'm saying that they're really trying to sell you on the opportunity. They're like, yeah, this is a great opportunity. You're going to do really great here. We got this, we got that. These are the career opportunities here. These are the internal growth opportunities. This is what we do as a team. This is what we're expecting. Other people, who have worked here, they've said fantastic things about working for us, et cetera, et cetera. They start selling you on why it's a great opportunity to work at their organization, at their company, right? This is another strong indicator that they're very interested in you, because they want you to have positive, uh, positive perspective, positive thoughts, positive outlooks on working for their organization. So they're telling you about how great it is going to be for you to work with them. Now, again, if they don't do this, again, that does not mean that things are not going well. It doesn't necessarily mean that. But what I'm saying is, if you're experiencing this, if you feel like when you're sitting there on that phone call, the video call, or the in-person interview, and you feel like they're really trying to convince you of how great it is at their company, and they're genuinely excited and enthusiastic about it, and they really want to show you all the merits and the great things that they're doing, and all the great things you're going to learn, the things you're going to work on. Again, this is another indicator number two, folks, that this is a very strong sign that they like you, they're genuinely interested in you, and they have a high potential of wanting to move things forward in the conversation, right? Whether that's to the next interview in the cycle, or hey, maybe even potentially an offer letter. All right. So this is another indicator, and that indicator is they're really trying to sell you on why it's a great opportunity for you to work with them, and why it's such a great career opportunity overall. Like, and they start talking about all the successes and wins that they've had, the things that they're doing, and how other existing employees are really happy working for them, and all that stuff. So this is another strong indicator. And wow, we have a really quiet crowd today. Like, come on, folks, I'm giving my 100%. Like, you got to give something back. All right, let me know in the comments who you are, where you're tuning in from. Let me know your feedback. Let me know your experiences with the interview. All right. So if I'm gonna give something, you got to give something back in exchange. All right. So make sure you're commenting and letting me know your thoughts and your experiences in the comments. So there's that back and forth flow with you and I as well. All right, because otherwise I'm just not gonna do these free sessions, because I do this free, and I do this because I know not all of you can are getting that job search tips and advice that you need in your job search. Right. So indication number three is, and this is another great indicator, is, and this is most relevant for the in-person interviews, but it could happen on video interviews as well. Maybe not so on phone interviews, but definitely on in-person interviews for sure. Indication number three is they're introducing you to other team members. All right, these are unscheduled team members. Maybe they're like, okay, look, if you have a few more minutes, we really want to introduce you to someone else on the team, or some of the other people on the team. We just want to quickly bring them in and introduce you. That is a very, very good sign, folks. If you're seeing this, if you're experiencing this on the interview, where the interview whoever is interviewing you, they're like, wait, we want to introduce you to a couple more people on the team. We just want to quickly bring them in. That is a good indicator. Now, some of you watching this, you might be like, hey, well, that's them throwing me off guard. The interview was supposed to be between me and so and so. I mean, yeah, maybe that's one way you can interpret it, but another way, the way I see it, folks, this is extremely positive. This is a positive indicator. It means that they want other people on the team to meet with you, because they feel like you're a strong candidate, and they simply want to reinforce that opinion that they have by bringing in other people on the team to meet with you, that they're 100% sure, or very certain that they're going to like you as well, so they can reinforce this mental decision they've already made, that you're going to be a great fit for the team, right? So indication number three, and this is again something very positive. It's a positive sign if you're experiencing this at your interviews. If the interviewer or whoever it is that you're meeting with wants to introduce you right there on the spot, they want to bring in someone else on the team that they want to briefly, quickly introduce you to during the interview. All right, and this could be an unscheduled introduction. This is a very good sign, right? Don't be freaked out by it. Don't be like, oh my God, this is not someone I expected to speak to on this conversation. don't think of it that way. Like for me, whenever this has happened, this has always been positive. It means things could potentially be moving forward or to the next step in the process. So keep in mind that if you're experiencing this, right, indication number three, they're on the interview itself, impromptu. They want to introduce you to other members of the team, especially if it's someone's higher up. That would be a really good indication that things are going well. If they want to introduce you to their boss or their manager or their someone higher up the echelons of the organization, or even someone else on the team. Either way, it's a very positive indicator, folks. All right. So indication number three is during the interview, unscheduled, impromptu, they want to introduce you to other members of the team. This is a great sign. It means they like you, and they simply want to reinforce that perspective by bringing in other people in the organization whose opinion they value and respect. Oh wow! Looks like we got some comments coming in. So Suhail says, what are the normal questions? What are the normal questions that asking for an interview? Suhail, I'm not sure what you're asking here. Like I'm not entirely sure what you're asking here. So feel free to clarify that in the comments. Be more specific. I'm not sure what you're asking here. Like I have no idea what you're saying. But hey, feel free to clarify that and put it in the comments. We got Johan here. Hey, Johan, good to see you here. Johan says, hey, Dean, is Johan from Winnipeg. This is so true. I had a two-way communication with the interview team recently and things went well. Awesome. Hey, good to hear that. So Johan is saying, hey, so going back to tip number one, right? If the interview is more like a conversation, it has that back and forth two-way communication going on. Johan is saying, yeah, he experienced that recently, right? And this is usually a great indication that things are going really well, and they want to move you into the next step of the process. Because when it's more like a conversation or a discussion versus just an interview where they ask you a question and you respond, etc., it's usually a great indication, right? So Johan is saying he experienced that recently and things went really well. So good to hear that, Johan, and always good to see you here. Johan says your free live sessions definitely helped me get myself prepared for the interview and land an interview. Thanks, Dean. Hey, no worries, Johan. I really appreciate you tuning in, and it really means a lot when people comment and let me know that, right? Because otherwise, I don't know. I know I have a lot of silent supporters there, which is fine. I appreciate everyone showing up, but it always means a lot when I get that feedback in the comments as well. All right, so appreciate you tuning in, Johan. And yeah, any other questions, folks? If you have any questions about today's topic, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'm happy to share any perspective from my end. And make sure you hit me up with a like and a share, folks. Always appreciate that. All right. So going into the next indication. All right. The next indication is, and this is number four. Indication number four that things are going really well is if they ask about things that you've got other opportunities you might be interviewing for right now, right? So indication number four is if they're asking about any other companies you're interviewing with or any other offers you might be expecting on the table. Now, again, some of you out there might be like, oh, well, why would they want to know that? That's intrusive. That's not their business. That's not their problem. And I can get why some of you might feel that way, but from the hiring team's perspective or from the recruiter's perspective, what they're trying to see is should they be moving things quicker on their end? That's why they want to know, are you closing in on anything with any other organization? Are you expecting any offers on the table around the corner? So this way, the recruiter or whoever the person interviewing you is can convey that to whoever the other decision makers are that, hey, I got this great candidate that I met with. I think they're going to be a great addition to the team, but they are actively interviewing. They have an offer that they're expecting. Let's get together. Let's move this as forward as soon as possible. That's why they're trying to do that. That's why they're asking you if you have any other offers on the table, or if you're interviewing with other organizations where you're in final stages and stuff like that. So if they're asking you this, folks, this is again another great positive indication, because they simply want to know if they should be moving things quicker at their end, and move on to the next step of the process as soon as possible. So if they're asking you if you have any other offers on the table, or if you're interviewing anywhere else, or if you're close to making any decisions with any other organizations, this is a good sign. It means that they like you and they want to potentially move things quicker at their end so they can put something on the table for you potentially as well, so you have something to consider. So this is another great indicator. If that's happening, that's a great indication, folks, that they like you and things are going great at the interview. Now, final, number five, and this is another great indication that they really like you and they want to see if they can move things forward, is if they ask you how soon you can start, or they ask you when can you start, like when would you be able to start. If the hiring teams ask you this, if the interviewer asks you this, or the recruiter asks you this is a sign that they do have an interest in you. That means that they like you, they have an interest in you, and they're thinking ahead. They're thinking how soon they can set up the next meeting, the next interview, or the next conversation, or even if it's a final interview, how soon they can prepare the offer letter so they can put it in front of you and get you started as soon as possible. Or if you're currently unemployed, by the way, if you're currently unemployed, even if you can start as quicker than the standard 2 weeks that people usually ask for, right? So they want to get you, but if they're asking you this, it could mean that they just want to get you in their on their team on board as soon as possible. Because again, because there's a high chance that they like you, they like what you bring to the table, and they feel like they want to get you on as soon as possible. So this is the indication number 5 is, if they ask you how soon you can start, specifically if they actually verbally ask you how soon can you start, that is like the best indicator. That means that they want to know how soon you can start this, so they can get things ramped up at their end. They can start getting the paperwork together, and to put together an offer on the table, or move things to the next step of the process. So these are 5 signs, folks. Now look, there are other signs that things might be going well in the interview. I'm not saying these are exhaustive, but if you're seeing any of these 5 signs, it's a high indication that the interviewer, the interview panel, the hiring team really likes you, and they want to move things forward to the next step of the process, whether that's another interview or the final offer on the table. So again, those 5 signs. Sign number 1 is the interview is going more like a conversation. It's more like a discussion, a conversation. There's an exchange of ideas and opinions and thoughts taking place. When that's happening, it's usually a very positive indicator that things are going well and the interview is going well. Indication number 2 is they start selling you on the opportunity. They're like, they start telling you how great it is to work at the company, how exciting it is, all the opportunities for internal growth you'll have at the company, all the things you're going to learn, positive feedback from other existing current employees, success stories from other current existing employees. If they're really trying to sell you on what a great opportunity is, folks, it's because they like you. They potentially, or there's a high chance of them liking you, and they want you to leave with a positive, positive impression of the organization, right? So if they're doing that, if they're really selling you on the opportunity, that's a good sign. It means that they like you. It means that they like what they're hearing about you and what you bring to the table. Indication number 3 is unscheduled impromptu introductions. They're introducing you to other people on their team during the interview itself. These are unscheduled additional individuals, and they're like, hey, look, if you have a few more minutes, I really want to introduce you to so and so on the team, or I really want to introduce you to my manager. I really want to introduce you to our CTO or CEO or whoever it is, right? What this means is that they like you, they're sold on you. Now they just want to bring in someone else who they respect, to get their additional approval as well, and get their opinion and advice that they respect. And they just want to simply reinforce the decision that they've already made, that they feel like you're a good good person for the team. So another good indicator is if they start introducing you to other people on the team, right? Various levels of the organization. Number 4 is, indication number 4, the interview is going well, is they're asking you if you have anything else on the go. Are you expecting any offers on the table anytime soon? They're asking you this so that they can expedite and speed things up at their end, right? Because they like you. They want to move things forward. They want to see if they can put an offer on the table, or they want to see if they can get you to meet the next person on the team as soon as possible. So if they're asking you, are you expecting any offers? Do you have any offers on the table right now? Are you expecting any offers? That's usually typically a good indication, because it helps them build a case as to moving things forward and much quicker, so they can get an offer in front of you or get you moving into the next step of the process as soon as possible. Now, indication number 5 that the interview is going well, folks, is they simply ask you, hey, how soon can you start? How soon are you available? If they ask you this is a great positive indicator, because again, it means they like you, they want you on the team, they want to onboard you, and they just want to figure out how soon you can start, so they can again expedite things and speed things up at their end, put an offer together potentially, and get it in front of you as soon as possible. All right, so hey, those 5 indicators, folks. Those are definite positive indications that they like you, they want to move to the next step of the process, or they want to get an offer in front of you, so they can move things forward and get things moving as soon as possible. All right. Now, again, there's many other indicators, and again, if you don't see any of these indications, that does not necessarily mean things are not going great. But if you are seeing any of these indications, or a combination of these together, then that is a very positive sign that things are going well, things are going great, and there's a high chance that they want to move you into the next step of the process, or even put an offer in front of you on the table right there in front of you. All right. So that's today's topic. Looks like we got a very quiet crowd today. I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to end the session today. So appreciate everyone who tuned in. If you got value out of today's segment, make sure you hit me up with a like, and always appreciate the likes. And mark your calendars, folks. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I'm right here to share job search tips, advice, and strategies to help you folks out in your job search. So appreciate you tuning in. Shout out again to everyone on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter who tuned in. And make sure you tune in every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, right here, where I'm going to be sharing job search tips, advice, strategies that you can apply to your search. Hey, Dean Kulaweera here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a fantastic remainder of the week. Keep pushing through and don't give up, folks.